Добрый день.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues and dear guests. It is the 17th of June, 2021. It is 3 p.m. Moscow time. We are beginning this session of the Dissertation Council for the Defense of the Thesis by Sun Yui. The thesis is submitted in conformity with requirements for the academic degree of the candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Scientific Specialty 130002, Theory and Methods of Training and Education. The topics of the dissertation is formation and development of grammatical skills using innovative methods when teaching Chinese students to Russian language, level A2. Under the order issued by St. Petersburg State University, number 2365/1, I, Professor Larisa Tarnaeva, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences of St. Petersburg State University, has been appointed the chairperson of the Dissertation Council. The other members of the Dissertation Council have been appointed by the same order. They are Professor Leonid Moskovkin, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor of St. Petersburg State University; Professor Elena Cherkova, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, St. Petersburg State University of Architecture and Civil Engineering; Professor Galina Vasilyeva, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor of Heads and Stage Pedagogical University, has joined us via video conferencing system. Professor Liu Lifeng, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Guangdong University of Foreign Studies, China, has also joined us via video conferencing system. Can you hear us? The degree seeker is also here. Moreover, the research advisor, Professor Nina Fedotova, Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor of St. Petersburg University, is also attending the session of the Dissertation Council. I would like to ask the members of the Dissertation Council who are attending the session via video conference system to switch off their microphones. Please make sure that your microphone is switched on when you are given the floor. This session of the Dissertation Council is being recorded and broadcast on the official website of St. Petersburg State University. It is also being interpreted into English. You can ask your questions and make comments using the email address that you can find on the official webpage. The questions are supposed to be relevant to the contents of the dissertation or the presentation. The technical personnel will refer the questions to me, and I will read them out during the discussion. As I have already said, the questions are supposed to be relevant to the contents of the dissertation. The authors of the questions are to write down their name, position, and workplace. The questions that are not relevant to the topic of the dissertation will not be read out, as well as anonymous questions will not be read out either. Under the relevant order issued by St. Petersburg State University on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University, the session of the Dissertation Council is duly constituted, provided at least 2/3 of the members of the Dissertation Council are present. The total number is not to be fewer than 4 people. This Dissertation Council consists of 5 people, 5 of which are present, including 2 members of the Academic Council who are attending the defense remotely via video conferencing system. Therefore, we have a quorum. The agenda is as follows. The session of the Dissertation Council will last for about 2 hours. Number 1, the chairman's presentation about the documents submitted by the degree seeker for the degree and their conformity with requirements. Chairman's reply to the questions, if any. The presentation of the degree seeker, providing an overview and findings of the research. Questions to the degree seeker regarding the presentation. The candidates reply to the questions. Report on the thesis. The members of the Academic Council will be taking the floor in turns. 10 minutes per person. The chairman's report on the thesis. The degree seeker's comments about the report on the thesis and replies to the questions. Open discussion. The floor will be given to the non-board members of the audience. They can give a brief account of their ideas and or ask questions about the research. No more than 5 minutes per person. It is necessary to fill in the registration form and give their full name before the talk. Next, the chairperson will read out the questions received via email. The questions will be read out, providing they are not too long. The candidate's replies to the questions. Presentation of the degree seeker supervisor. Deliberations of the members of the Dissertation Council before the open balloting on conferring or non-conferring the academic degree. The discussion of the results of the defense is not broadcast. Open balloting, vote counting, and recording the results in the protocol. Making a decision on whether to confer or not to confer the academic degree, the degree seeker's closing speech. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions or objections about the agenda? Since there are no questions, I will proceed with the agenda. First of all, I would like to ask you to switch off your mobile phones. Those who are attending the session via video conferencing system, please put your phones on the silent mode so that we can contact you should some technical glitches occur. The chairperson's presentation. The dissertation is submitted in conformity for the requirements of the scientific degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences. The topic of the dissertation is formation and development of grammatical skills using innovative methods when teaching Chinese students to the Russian language, level A2. The dissertation was approved for the defense by the order of the Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg State University. The dissertation was completed in St. Petersburg State University. The research advisor is Doctor of Pedagogical Sciences, Professor of the Department of Russian as a Foreign Language, Professor Nina Fedotova. The degree seeker has published 4 research papers. Four papers have been published in peer-reviewed journals recommended by the Ministry of Education and Science. The degree seeker has submitted a full set of documents to the Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg State University. The documents are in compliance with Section 12 of the order. The documents submitted by the degree seeker, comply with the requirements, and are stored in the dossier. The representative of the Department for Dissertation Council Management has the copies of the documents. Before giving the floor to the degree seeker, I would like to ask the members of the Dissertation Council if they have any questions to the degree seeker, and if it is necessary to read out the list of documents which have been submitted. No? No. Now I give the floor to the degree seeker. The floor is yours. Dear Chairperson of the Dissertation Council, dear members of the Dissertation Council, the topic of my dissertation is the formation and development of grammatical skills using innovative methods when teaching Chinese students to the Russian language level A2. The main research outcomes are as follows. I have analyzed the definitions of the grammatical skill, which I found in scientific papers. This allowed me to give a more specific definition of the grammatical skills. Grammatical skills are regarded as automated operations which are connected with the right use and perception of the grammatical form, which also allows a person to perform comprehensive speech actions in different types of speech activities. I have described the major psycholinguistic mechanisms which are necessary to identify the grammatical skills which are necessary in order to master Russian as a foreign language. It is important to take into account psycholinguistic patterns when you study a second language. Moreover, it is important to form and to develop different other linguistic skills. Such processes are activated as the memory, logical thinking, and imagination. I have identified cognitive and psychological characteristics of Chinese students studying Russian as a foreign language. They are visual and visual motor type of memory, ability to memorize a large amount of visual information, concrete and symbolic as well as spatial and imaginative thinking, a retaining of face, and an ability to perform logical operations, as well as entrepreneurship and risk-taking behavior. When it comes to cognitive and psychological characteristics of Chinese speakers, I would like to say that it is necessary to take into account the national and cultural features of these students. This allows us to get rid of the psychological barrier and to motivate students to study Russian grammar and to communicate in the Russian language. We identified grammatical mistakes which are made by Chinese students who are studying Russian at an A1 level. This sample included 50 Chinese students of language courses of St. Petersburg State University. I used the multiple choice test, which tested different grammatical features. These features are difficult for Chinese students due to Russian Chinese interference. The results of this test allowed me to conduct an experiment and also to develop a set of grammatical exercises which take into account the frequency of mistakes made by Chinese students. In my research, I also make use of innovative methods which can be used when foreign students study the Russian language at the A2 level, including Chinese students. When developing these methods, I took into account the ethnical and methodological aspect. I also took into account the specific objective and tasks of a lesson. However, I would like to emphasize that the use of methods also result or stem from the formation of the grammatical skills. We developed a set of grammatical exercises which would allow us to teach Chinese students. This set of exercises take into account their cognitive and psychological features. This set of exercises include different types of exercises, such as exercises for repetition, exercises for observation, exercises for coming up with a stereotype, exercises for variation, and exercises for performing control, and so on. The research material included 5 lessons. Each lesson has a specific pattern and consists of 3 blocks: the introductory block, the central block, and the final block. I use a number of innovative methods in the grammatical exercises. These innovative methods allow the students to get extensive knowledge about the grammatical system of the Russian language, and also to use grammatical forms in order to perform specific tasks. In order to check the efficiency of this set of exercises, I conducted an experiment. The experiment was conducted at the Department of the Russian as a Foreign Language of St. Petersburg State University in November-December 2019. The results of the introductory tests allow us to come to the conclusion that reasons for grammatical mistakes can be various: stereotypical or mechanical memorizing without understanding the function of the grammatical feature, inability to see different variants, absence of grammatical skills, and interlanguage and intralanguage interference. Another experiment was conducted after the final test was performed, and I come to the conclusion that the students of the experiment group were able to form a high level of grammatical skills. In experimental groups, we used both traditional and innovative methods of teaching grammar. Moreover, grammatical skills were trained on different types of speech activities. After the experiment, I conducted interviews with the students of the experimental group. The students studied Russian using our set of exercises. The students gave a positive assessment of the set of exercises. They emphasized the following positive characteristics of this set of exercises: different types of exercises, clear explanation, of grammatical forms and grammatical constructions, and use of authentic texts, and so on. This high assessment of the set of exercises shows that our method is effective in teaching Russian grammar to Chinese students. This set of exercises employs innovative methods which allow the students to study grammar quicker and to get a better understanding. Moreover, the set of exercises allows the students to be motivated to studying the Russian language, and also allows them to perform different communicative tasks when speaking a Russian language. That would be all. Thank you. Are there any questions to the degree seeker? Do you have any questions about the presentation? I would like to ask a question. Why are you interested in innovative methods of teaching? Thank you very much for your question. I believe that innovative methods are very important in teaching, and innovative methods take into account cognitive, psychological, as well as national features of students. Moreover, innovative methods allow us to keep the students interested in studying the Russian grammar. Are there any other questions? Sun Yui, you talked about a set of exercises for Chinese students. I would like to ask you a question. Are these exercises designed to teach Chinese students, or can students of other countries make use of these exercises? And which exercises are designed specifically for Chinese students? Thank you very much for your question. I designed a set of exercises with the national aspect. It is done specifically for Chinese students. I didn't test this test of exercises on other students, on other than Chinese students. So I cannot say whether this set of exercises can be used by other students, but all these exercises are developed for Chinese students. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Are there any questions from the members of the Dissertation Board who are attending via video conferencing system? No questions. Are you satisfied with the answers to your questions? Now I will be giving the floor to the members of the Dissertation Council. They will read out their reports and ask questions. The degree seeker may answer the question after reading out each report, or you can provide your answers also after all the reports have been read out. I suggest the second option. As far as I understand, there are no external reports on the dissertation. Now, we move on to the next item on our agenda. Since all the reports are published on the official website of St. Petersburg State University, I suggest that you read out only the most relevant parts of your dissertation counsel. Are there any objections? Now the board members will be reading out their reports. I give the floor to Professor Leonid Moskovkin. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. In my presentation, I point out that the dissertation by Sun Yui, our postgraduate student, is relevant. The relevance of the research is well described here. The dissertation also has a practical and theoretical significance. The main research outcomes are valid and credible, and I would like to focus on the novelty of the research, because this is the reason for writing any dissertation. When it comes to the scientific research, I would like to say that Sun Yu conducted an experiment which allowed her to prove that there is a dependency between the cognitive national aspect and the grammatical skills. And she also points out that the use of innovative methods is also an important aspect of studying grammar of a foreign language. I asked Sun Yui about her interest in using innovative methods in teaching, namely the use of innovative methods when teaching Russian as a foreign language. And her answer to the question showed that the use of innovative methods allow the students to stay motivated, and as a result they can successfully develop grammatical skills. I analyzed the dissertation, and I believe that this dissertation is a complete research work. It provides a solution to an important task. And overall, I believe that this dissertation is important for science in general, because it doesn't happen very often when we use innovative methods in our work. Especially the methods which are described in this dissertation. Moreover, this dissertation makes a contribution to the theory of developing grammatical skills. This is an independent research work. It is well structured and logical. It contains valid research outcomes. It was very interesting to read it. I believe it is read very easily. although it is written in a very scientific language, and the author's main stance is quite clear, as well as the main research outcomes. The main research outcomes have been published in 4 research papers in peer-reviewed in peer-reviewed journals. However, I believe that the dissertation has some statements that should be clarified. So I am getting to the critical part of my report. For example, on page 29, Sun Yui writes about different approaches to the psychological mechanism, and she also writes down, in this research, we take the point of view of Professor Zimnier, and then she gives her definition of mechanism. I believe that this definition, although given by a famous psychologist, is not a good one, or it's not sufficient. But the degree seeker has the right to have this opinion. However, I believe you should provide some clarifications here. Probably the degree seeker was influenced by the authority of the psychologist who gave this definition. Critical remark number 2. The following statement is not substantiated. When teaching a mononational group, the best way is to employ nation-oriented approach. I believe that this statement is debatable. There are scholars who support this point of view, but some teachers do not think that this is the most effective approach. I believe you should have given references to the scholars that support this idea. In general, there are different approaches to this issue, and we respect all approaches and all points of view. Number 3, I believe you should have given reference to sources in paragraph 2.1. Otherwise, it looks as if the author developed all the innovative methods, but this is not quite so. I believe the author borrowed ideas from other scholarly papers. For example, there's such an innovative methods as the use of thick and thin questions. We began to use this method in 1990s, and it allows students to develop critical thinking through reading and writing. So a question arises: which sources did you use when you write the paragraph about innovative methods? Are there teaching methods that you developed yourself? But these critical remarks do not change the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. Now I am getting to the final part of my report, the dissertation by Sun Yui, Formation and Development of Grammatical Skills Using Innovative Methods when Teaching Chinese Students to the Russian Language, level A2, complies with the major requirements set forth in order number 6821/1 as of the 1st of September 2016 on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University, and Sun Yui can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Scientific Specialty, 13-002, Theory and Methods of Training and Education. The dissertation is compliant with Section 11 of the above-mentioned order. Thank you. Thank you. The degree seeker will be answering the questions after all the reports have been read out. We will move on to the next item on our agenda. I give the floor to Professor Vasilyeva, who is attending the session via a video conferencing system. Okay, I give the floor to Professor Vasilyeva. Thank you very much. I would like to be brief, no offense taken for my surname. Can you hear me? Is the sound okay? I would like to be brief because my report is posted on the website. I believe such works are quite difficult to write. Moreover, they're very relevant because there are so many students who study Russian as a foreign language. And nationality and ethnicity-oriented methods are really important, since Chinese teaching methods are different from Russian teaching methods. And ethnicity-oriented teaching methods for different linguistic levels are very important. Moreover, I would like to say that grammatical skills through the perspective of a specific ethnicity have not been studied, and I believe that the dissertation makes a contribution to this problem. The dissertation is relevant and it has a scientific novelty. The author should be given credit for providing a theoretical framework. It's a serious research which describes the most important concepts relevant to the research. The dissertation has both a theoretical and practical significance. I would like to say that this set of exercises are very interesting and innovative. I would like to emphasize that the research outcomes are valid and credible. The degree seeker has conducted a well-structured experiment which gives credibility to the research outcomes. I would like to focus on the aspect which I really liked. I would like to emphasize that the degree seeker analyzes the research papers by teachers, educators, and psychologists, and provides conclusions, or rather statements, which describe specific features of teaching foreign languages in China. China, accumulation of knowledge is more important than other aspects. Memorizing is more important than analyzing. So these and many others, so these important observations regarding teaching methods are very important and very interesting. And these observations were taken into account by the degree seeker when she was developing the set of exercises. So there is a clear connection between the theoretical part and the research part of the dissertation. This dissertation is interesting as any interesting dissertation. It raises some questions. I would like to read out my questions. So I gave my positive assessment of the dissertation, and now I would like to ask some questions. As I have already said, I really liked that you identify the main features of teaching methods in China. And in China, the non-communicative teaching methods are more common than communicative methods, which are used in Russia. Moreover, the innovative methods described in the dissertation take into account the ethnic and psychological features of Chinese students. However, teaching of Chinese students must be comfortable for Chinese students. Therefore, new innovative methods should be introduced gradually. And I have a question. Do we need to employ traditional grammatical exercises when teaching Chinese students, such as exercises for transformations, exercises for filling in the gaps, and so on? Because the communicative methods might make it uncomfortable for Chinese students to study the Russian language. Probably the innovative methods should be introduced at a step-by-step level. Maybe we should start with traditional methods and then gradually switch to innovative methods. If you agree with this statement, then how much time should be paid to traditional grammatical exercises? I would like to add that when we talk to our Chinese students, they often say that they are not ready, they don't feel comfortable when the communicative methods are used. Probably we should come up with a compromise here. And my second question is as follows. In the second part of the dissertation, you identify the major grammatical categories which are relevant for Chinese students studying Russian at A2 level. And then you include these grammatical categories in the test. What were the inclusion criteria for these grammatical categories? For example, you included cases, adjectives, and different other categories, but you excluded such categories as the category of the number, for example, or the category of the gender. I would like the author to provide rationale for the inclusion criteria. As I have already said, The questions do not change the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. And I would like to say that this is an independent research which focuses on a very important and relevant issue. The dissertation by Sun Yui, Formation and Development of Grammatical Skills Using Innovative Methods when Teaching Chinese Students to the Russian Language, Level A2, complies with the major requirements set forth in Order 682821/1 on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University. And Sun Yui can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences. This scientific specialty is 130002, Theory and Methods of Training and Education, Russian as a Foreign Language. Thank you very much. That would be all. Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Professor Elena Cherkova. Thank you. The dissertation by Sun Yui focuses on a very important, relevant, namely the studying of the grammatical system of the Russian language by Chinese students. The degree seeker takes into account the innovative methods, namely communicative methods, which can be used for teaching grammar. When using such methods, the communicative tasks and psychological aspects are taken into account. I would like to emphasize the most interesting parts of the dissertation. The dissertation is in line with modern research papers, and it also contains new research outcomes. What I like about this work is that it focuses on the development of productive grammatical skills. The degree seeker makes a thorough research of different theories, sometimes controversial theories, and the degree seeker identifies the most important aspects for developing grammatical skills. And she takes into account of this theoretical framework when she develops her set of exercises. The author also should be given credit for taking into account the cultural, national, and pedagogical traditions. This allows to increase the efficiency of teaching. The author should also be given credit for developing a set of grammatical exercises. This set employs innovative methods. I have read a lot about innovative methods, and one of my colleagues also wrote a monograph on this topic. But the set of exercises developed in this dissertation contains some new innovative methods. I would like to say that the dissertation is well structured and well developed. It is very logically structured. So the dissertation has a lot of merits, and I can talk at length about the merits about this dissertation. Unfortunately, I'm short of time, so I would like to focus on some small critical remarks, which are by no means serious. On pages 11 and 35, the degree seeker writes about the communication-oriented teaching of Russian as a foreign language. Further on, the degree seeker uses the term communicative teaching. I would like to ask the degree seeker about the difference between these terms. The author also uses such expressions as real communication, natural communication, real language environment, real conditions of the use of the language. Are these expressions synonymous? If so, then which of these terminological expressions is the main one, and how can you explain it? The degree seeker does not provide an algorithm for the teacher in the experimental group and in the control group. What's the difference between the approaches? What guidelines and methods were used in both groups? So, as you see, my critical remarks are debatable and do not change the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. The analysis and the research outcomes are valid and credible. I would like to say that the dissertation by Sun Yui, Formation and Development of Grammatical Skills using Innovative Methods when Teaching Chinese Students to the Russian Language, Level A2, complies with the major requirements set forth in Order number 6828/1 as of the 1st of September 2016 on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University. Sun Yui can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Scientific Specialty 130002, Theory and Methods of Training and Education, Russian as a Foreign Language, Levels of General and Professional Education. Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor to Professor Lu. Professor Lu, can you hear us? Yes, I can hear you. The dissertation by Sun Yui is relevant. It deals with the formation and development of grammatical skills using innovative methods when teaching Chinese students to the Russian language, level A2. The dissertation consists of two parts, the theoretical part and the research part, where the author describes an experiment. The dissertation uses a number of methods which are relevant to the dissertation. The dissertation also has scientific novelty because the author of the dissertation developed innovative methods for teaching Russian grammar. These methods will make teaching Russian grammar to Chinese students more important, more efficient. This set of grammatical exercises employs a system of innovative methods, including the use of animation, infographics, computer graphics, pictograms, mobile technology, and other methods which are connected with the use of IT. The exercises are varied. Each lesson consists of 3 blocks. the introductory block, the central block, and the final block. The author makes use of different teaching materials, even road signs. The use of such materials motivates students to study more effectively, allows them to get rid of the psychological barrier, and also keeps them motivated. Moreover, this set of exercises allow the students to learn to speak fluently. Some of the exercises are really efficient because they are designed to activate the logical operations with the help of mnemonic, audiovisual, search, and other methods. Some of the methods, such as the sharing, the interpreter, the Photoshop, the calculator, are quite traditional for teaching foreign languages in China. They can be used for experimental teaching as well. The use of these methods will allow to give systematic knowledge about the Russian grammar to foreign students. It will also allow them to acquire grammatical skills necessary for effective communication in the Russian language. These methods not only allow the Chinese students to acquire grammatical knowledge, but also to develop other skills such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. There are some minor drawbacks in the dissertation. I believe that the structure of the dissertation is not quite logical. It consists of 2 chapters. However, I believe that the dissertation should contain at least 3 chapters. I believe that the second chapter should have been developed into, or rather should have been divided into 2 chapters. The dissertation by Sun Yui, Formation and Development of Grammatical Skills Using Innovative Methods When Teaching Chinese Students to the Russian Language, Level A2, complies with the major requirements set forth in order on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University. And Sun Yui can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of Pedagogical Sciences, Scientific Specialty 13002, Theory and Methods of Training and Education, Russian as a Foreign Language. Thank you very much for your report. Now I will read out my report. A lot has already been said about the dissertation. However, I would like to emphasize some points here. I believe that the dissertation is well structured and very logical. The dissertation is very coherent. It is very easy to read, and it's a very interesting dissertation. Moreover, the structure of the dissertation allows the reader to get a clear understanding of the concepts and ideas. I would like to emphasize again that the dissertation is relevant. I believe that today it's extremely important to use innovative methods, especially now that we employ distant learning at all. Therefore, the use of innovative methods are important from theoretical and a practical point of view. As a result, the topic of the dissertation is relevant. What I also like about the dissertation is that the degree seeker studies a very complex issue, namely the acquiring of grammatical skills. Very few scholars want to focus on the grammatical skills, but in this case we see that the degree seeker made a thorough and copious research of this issue. Now, I would like to say that some questions about the dissertation, and I also have some disagreements with my colleagues. Professor Moskovkin spoke about the mononational groups. However, in my report, the focus on the mononational group is described as something positive. And this is a good point because it shows that the dissertation has many credits. This dissertation triggers interest and it triggers different other ideas. And I believe that this is a strong point of this dissertation. The author takes into account the cognitive aspect and the cultural aspect when it comes to studying a foreign language, and I believe this is a strong point of the dissertation. My colleagues work a lot with Chinese students, and I believe that this is a very important statement. We should give it some consideration. We should think whether it is important to pay attention to the cognitive aspect, to the cultural aspect, and to the communicative aspect. This is important because representative of different cultures perceive information in different ways. This is a debatable issue. However, on the other hand, this issue also allows for many approaches, and this issue also triggers interest and allows for the use of different methods. What I also like about this dissertation is that the author suggests taking account ethnological and psychological aspect, and on the other hand, the author points out that it is necessary to adjust the teaching methods to different teaching traditions in China and in Russia. The author of the dissertation points out a very important issue here, namely the role of culture, of the cultural aspect in studying grammar. This, as it were, is a dialogue of cultures. This is what I find valuable and interesting and thought-provoking in this dissertation. I would like to emphasize that the dissertation is very well structured and logically written. The degree seeker has a good command of scientific methods and is familiar with the terms. I like that the use of the terms is very coherent. She provides explanations for all the terms that she uses in her dissertation. This is also a merit of this dissertation. She explains both the concepts and the terms. I would like to say that I agree with my colleagues here when it comes to the merits of the dissertation. However, I have some questions about the dissertation. In statements for the defense, as well as in other parts of the dissertation, you write about the communicative approach to teaching Russian as a foreign language. What are the underlying principles of the communicative approach? When developing the set of exercises, did you take into account the levels of intellectual activity necessary to perform the tasks? The a lot of attention is paid to the cognitive aspect. However, you did not write anything about the levels of intellectual activities. Which levels of intellectual activities are mostly required when performing this set of exercises? You describe 5 grammar lessons in your dissertation. Each lesson is for 4 academic hours, and the lessons have a similar structure. Does it mean that all aspects are taught separately? Namely, does it mean that the skills are taught separately? At level A2, I believe that this could violate one of the most important principles, namely the coherence between different types of activities. Probably you should have organized the material differently. Maybe you could organize them in modules, which could be used as a component at lessons devoted to the development of other language skills. Probably you should increase the time period when it comes to the methods of teaching. But this is my personal opinion. So I would like to ask you this question, and I would like you to provide some clarifications here. Next, the term cognitive psychological is not a correct one, and there are also some technical drawbacks in the dissertation. I probably shouldn't even mention them. I would like to emphasize that the critical remarks are debatable, and these are rather recommendations which do not change the overall positive assessment of the dissertation. This is an independent research work which has a scientific novelty, practical and theoretical significance. And I believe that the dissertation has reached the objective and the overall goal of the dissertation. The dissertation by Sun Yu, Formation and Development of Grammatical Skills Using Innovative Methods when Teaching Chinese Students to the Russian Language. Level A2 complies with the major requirements set forth in order on the procedure of granting academic degrees at St. Petersburg State University, and Sun Yu can be awarded the academic degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences, scientific specialty 130002, Theory and Methods of Training and Education. The dissertation is compliant with Section 11 of the above-mentioned order. That would be all. Let us move on to the next point on our agenda. I give the floor to the degree seeker. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, thank you for reading my dissertation and for your reports. All your questions and critical remarks are very important for me, and I would like to give answers to some of them. I can say that I developed the innovative methods using modern linguistic, psycholinguistic, and methodological concepts. For example, mnemonic methods are used, or are rather described, in papers by Irina Golova and Yelena Kalish. The book by Klarina, Innovative Models of Teaching, provides such teaching methods as quest, metaphor, brainstorming and cluster. Monographs by Moskovkin, Shamunin, Sysoeva and Yevsignieva describe the use of computer technology and internet in teaching Russian as a foreign language. The paper by Naimushna describes the use of mobile technology. Professor Arkhangelskaya, Dunaeva, Khromov, Apalkov and Faizulina describe the use of email as a new form of control. The use of puzzles when teaching bilingual children. Is described in the paper by Yakimovich. The pictogram method is described in the textbook by Malышева, published in 2017. The analysis of these methods allowed us to make these methods more effective and to develop new methods. Can we use only communicative methods when teaching Chinese students and exclude traditional methods? I can say that we cannot exclude traditional non-communicative methods. Our set of exercises includes non-communicative tasks as well, but we presented them in a different form. If the students are not highly motivated when performing traditional exercises, the use of plays, the use of role plays, allow us to create a comfortable atmosphere for the students when they are not afraid to make mistakes. The next question was about the inclusion criteria when it comes to grammatical categories. I used two principles here. The first principle conformity with the language level, and number 2, the frequency of mistakes. Therefore, I identified the grammatical categories which are difficult for Chinese students and where Chinese students make the largest amount of mistakes. They include agreement of adjectives and nouns, the use of verbs of motion, the use of aspect. A few words about communicative teaching and communication-oriented teaching. According to Minkova, communicative teaching is a method of teaching which employs communicative tasks. Communication-oriented teaching develops a communicative competence. This type of teaching employs different types of and different teaching methods, not only communicative methods. In my research, communication-oriented approach is more important than communicative teaching. Communicative approach takes into account communicative requirements and cognitive features, as well as the use of methods which allow them to activate their thinking activities. And I believe that the term communication-oriented teaching means that we emphasize the contents, the needs, and the specific features of the students. Now a few words about the terms real communication and natural communication, real language environment, and real conditions, real communicative conditions. Real communication is defined as communication between two or more people who share information in order to perform specific communicative tasks. Now a few words about the algorithm of work in the control group and in the experimental group. The lessons in the experimental groups were conducted with the use of the set of exercises that we developed. The structure of the lesson was described in the presentation. The students in the control groups used the textbook by Belikova, Yerofeeva and Shutova. The authors of this textbook believe that the movement should be from the language to the speech, and the grammatical presentation is in conformity with the linguistic paradigm of the basic level. Moreover, emphasis is also given to the text. However, the experiment showed that this approach is less effective in acquiring linguistic skills. Our set of exercises employs a lot of communication-oriented tasks. they help the students to activate their grammatical skills. One of the reports mentions that such methods as sharing interpreter and calculator are quite traditional for teaching foreign languages in China. However, these methods are not used in textbooks on Russian as a foreign language, which are used in Chinese textbooks. The most popular textbooks on Russian as a foreign language in China are The Russian Language, East, by Shi Tiezan and Zhang Xinliang, and also Modern Grammar of the Russian Language, the New Russian Grammar, Practical Grammar of the Russian Language for the beginners. These textbooks emphasize the memorizing of grammatical rules and doing exercises in writing. However, they do not have an effective set of exercises which would allow the students to develop grammatical skills. I would like to say that such methods as sharing and Photoshop were probably developed long ago, were developed not long ago, because they use mobile devices. The methods that we use in our dissertation are designed to develop a communicative ability of Chinese students, because they take into account the formation of grammatical skills of the Russian language, cognitive and psychological characteristics of Chinese speakers. I believe that the methods described in the dissertation are innovative in their essence. Each new teaching method is a development of the existing methods. Therefore, innovative methods must be regarded from the historical perspective. We are planning to improve our methods in the future. In my research, I also made use of a number of principles which are important for communicative approach. These principles are as follows. The principles of coherence and communication provide a close link between linguistic features and the use of the language. The principle of authenticity and situation mean that authentic materials must be used. These materials must demonstrate the use of the language in different communicative situations. The principle of interactivity employs a set of methods the principle of interconnection between grammar and other speech skills is taken into account when developing our set of exercises. The principle of personality-oriented teaching means that communicative needs and interests of the students, as well as their cultural and psychological features, must be taken into account. The principle of variability means that different methods must be used in order to make the teaching process effective. The next question was about the levels of intellectual activity of Chinese students. I would like to mention the theory of intellectual activity proposed by Universitetskaya. The set of exercises in our dissertation encompasses all levels of intellectual activities. However, the grammar exercises at a basic level must be oriented towards the production level and the heuristic level. The exercises in our dissertation allow the students to use grammatical forms in speech to perform communicative tasks. I believe that the lack of linguistic competences make it difficult for Chinese students to show any creativity. Therefore, they cannot identify patterns in the Russian language. I would like to say that our research is designed to optimize the process of teaching grammar and not other types of speech activities. I developed a set of exercises in order to test the efficiency of my methods. I conducted an experiment. However, I believe it is necessary to develop grammatical skills in connection with other types of linguistic activities, such as reading and listening. Therefore, we can see similar grammatical patterns in exercises, in grammar exercises, in text for reading and in text for listening. I would like to say that I accept the other critical remarks and I will make use of them in my further research. I would like to thank all the members of the Dissertation Council for your critical remarks and for your questions and for your recommendations. Thank you very much. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, are you satisfied with the replies to the questions? Professor Moskovkin, are you satisfied? Yes, I would like to discuss something, but I will discuss it later. Professor Vasilyeva, are you satisfied? Yes, I'm satisfied with the answers. Could you say it again? I'm satisfied with the results. Professor Liu, are you satisfied with the answers? Yes, I am happy with the answers provided by the degree seeker. Professor Chirkova, are you satisfied with the replies? Yes, I believe that I am satisfied with the replies. I am also satisfied with the replies to the questions. We could debate about something, but we would regard it as a food for thought for our further discussions. Thank you very much. Does anybody want to make a presentation here? I mean, those who are not the members of the Dissertation Council. Does anybody want to say something? Okay. So nobody registered on the registration list. Nobody wants to make any comments. Now I give the floor to the research advisor. Have we received any questions via email? No questions have been received via email. Now I give the floor to the research advisor. The floor is given to Professor Nina Fedotova. Please tell us about the degree seeker and her work. Dear colleagues, dear members of the Dissertation Council, I would like to be brief. First of all, I would like to say that Sun Yui is a very brave researcher. She studies a very relevant issue, and this was emphasized by the members of the Dissertation Council. This is the time when we should find ways to increase the efficiency of teaching Russian to Chinese students. Many Chinese students work hard in order to study the Russian grammar, and the most important thing here is to study. They think it will allow them to speak Russian, when in fact they cannot apply in practice the knowledge of grammar that they have. They are afraid to make mistakes, therefore they avoid communication in the Russian language. I would like to say that Sun Yui is a results-oriented person. She overcomes all the obstacles, which is a very good quality for the postgraduate student, and she can set an example to other postgraduate students. Another thing I would like to point out is that Sun Yui is a very responsible person. And I believe that she's a very promising researcher who will promote the Russian language and the Russian methods of teaching. She has achieved the overall objective of the dissertation. 3 years ago, Sun Yui was a different person from what she is now, and I wish her every luck. Thank you very much. Does anybody want to say something? I would like to say a few words. Professor Nina Fedotova has been working for Sun Yui for 3 years as a research advisor, but I'm also familiar with Sun Yui, and I saw her marked progress. She wasn't any different from other postgraduate students when she was a first-year student, but she became the best postgraduate student in her second year. There were both Chinese and Russian postgraduate students in the group. Nevertheless, she was the first one, the best one. She was always a willing participant of our discussions at the seminars, I would like to say. I would like to say that Sun Yui is a very hard-working person. Sun Yui is a stereotypical Chinese student. Namely, she is very hard-working, and consistent work brings brilliant results. I was very happy to listen to her defense procedure because it was great. This is the result of her hard work, and I would like to wish her good luck. And I would like to say that I will be voting for conferring the academic degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences. I would like to say that we study ourselves all the time. I would like to say that I agree with Professor Liu, who says that the dissertation should be divided into 3 chapters. We usually divide them into 2 chapters, but probably this issue should be given some consideration. Yes, this thought should be given some consideration. We will think about it. That would be all. Professor Vasilyeva, would you like to say something? I don't have any remarks. I really liked the defense, and I liked how she answered the questions. I really liked everything. I would like to say that my postgraduate students always divide their dissertations into 3 chapters. I would like to say that sometimes it's difficult to divide a dissertation into 2 chapters. I like the suggestion proposed by Professor Liu. Thank you very much. Professor Cherkova, do you have any questions or remarks? I would like to say that I really liked reading the dissertation. Some parts were very interesting. I believe some parts of the dissertation will be really interesting for me because I deliver lectures on intercultural communication. I would like to say that my dissertation consisted of 3 chapters. Professor Arnold was my research advisor. It was many years ago. And nowadays there are different dissertations consisting of 2 chapters or of 3 chapters. But I would like to thank Sun Yui for her dissertation. Professor Liu, would you like to add something? I would like to express my gratitude for training such talented students. I would like to say that my colleagues emphasized professional growth of the postgraduate student. I would like to add something. Yesterday, she passed her exam. So she's defending her dissertation even before she graduates from her postgraduate course. And I believe that this is one of the very few cases. And this is an example to follow. She didn't procrastinate, she defends her dissertation on time. Are there any questions or remarks about the dissertation? No. Now we are moving to the next item on our agenda. Do we need to make a break to discuss the results of the defense? I don't think that we need a break because everything is clear. I don't think that we need a break now. So we do not need a break to discuss the results. We are beginning the open voting on the issue of conferring the academic degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences to Sun Yui, scientific specialty 13.002, theory and methods of training and education, Russian as a foreign language, levels of general and professional education. Let me remind you that the decision of the Dissertation Council on conferring the academic degree is positive, provided more than 50% voted in favor, in conformity with Section 23 of the Order. Professor Moskovkin, how do you vote? I vote for. Professor Vasilyeva, how do you vote? I vote for. Professor Cherkova, how do you vote? I vote for. Professor Liu, how do you vote? I also vote in favor. I also vote for conferring the academic degree. Dear colleagues, dear guests, out of 5 members of the Dissertation Council, 5 members voted for conferring the academic degree. Nobody voted against or abstained from voting. I think I should get up. So Sun Yui has been awarded the academic degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences, scientific specialty 13.002, theory and methods of training and education, Russian as a foreign language, levels of general and professional education.
Вот что, перед проведением итогов и заключительным голосованием задаю вопрос членам.
I would like to ask the members of the Dissertation Council if they have any questions or remarks about the procedure, including the remote attendance. No questions, no remarks. No. Sun Yui, no questions. I would like to emphasize that Sun Yui has been awarded the academic degree of the candidate of pedagogical sciences. Now, we give the floor to Sun Yui for her closing speech. First of all, I would like to express gratitude to my favorite university, St. Petersburg State University, where I had an opportunity to upgrade my skills. I studied here at a master's program and at a postgraduate program. I would like to thank the professors of the Department of Russian as a Foreign Language. I would like to thank and to express gratitude to China and to the Chinese consulate in St. Petersburg for their assistance during the pandemic. I would like to thank the Council on Workshops for their funding of my studying here. I would like to thank the members of the Dissertation Council for your reports and for your interesting reports. They allowed me to get a better understanding of many things. I would like to thank my research advisor, Professor Nina Fedotova, for her assistance and for her recommendations and for her support. In China we say, who was my teacher at least one day should be regarded as their own father. I would like to thank my research advisor for her patience and for her kindness. I would like to thank my family and my loved ones who have always supported me and who provide assistance. Let me say this in Chinese. I would like to say the technical personnel for helping with the organizing of the defense procedure. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you. We would like to congratulate you. Thank you for overcoming this barrier. We congratulate you on overcoming this barrier, and we would like to congratulate you as well. This is the end of this session of the Dissertation Council. Thank you. Switch off the microphone.